Here at the Fun Going Fast channel, we've been buying, working on, riding, reviewing, and selling ATVs over the past 10 years, although not all were recorded on video. We've purchased machines that were in great shape and were good buys. We've purchased machines that were good buys and not so great shape, and just purchased machines that were not in great shape. And when buying a machine, unless it's something that's almost brand new and barely used, I find that owners are obviously very motivated to sell their machine, so they either, one, don't disclose everything that's wrong with the machine, or two, they don't know everything that's wrong with the machine. So here's my list of 10 things I highly recommend you do if you've purchased an ATV, used ATV like this 2008 Raptor 700R, a YFZ 450, any other sport quad, or any other ATV for that matter. Here are 10 things I recommend you do before you take the ATV out on the trail. These things could save you a lot of expense in the long run, or at least a long walk out of the woods. Let's get started. Number one, and first thing, give it a good wash, especially if it's dirty and hasn't been washed in a while. It's really hard to get a good look at an ATV if it's covered in dust or dirt or mud. And if you have a pressure washer, don't wash the decals or the chain, especially if it's an O-ring chain. And the pressure washer will take those decals right off, especially if they're older. A Mr. Clean Sponge works great on the plastics and decals. But do make sure that you wash under the fenders, because that's a common place where a lot of dirt builds up. Number two, change the oil and filter unless you know for certain that it was done very recently. Now you'll know how many hours and rides you've got on the fresh oil and filter. And you can check the filter to make sure there aren't any metal shavings. Number four, check the radiator coolant overflow level. Make sure you've got coolant in there. You don't want to get out riding on a hot summer day and not have any radiator fluid and have the machine overheat. Number five, inspect the brake pads and make sure all the brakes work front and back. It's very common for people to sell machines without working brakes, and you're going to need those. Number six, on the wheels and tires, check all the lug nuts to make sure that they're tight. You'd be surprised, and losing a wheel is a problem. Check the air pressure in the tires, and then make sure that they hold air. It's really common to have leaky tires. And also, if it's been sitting for a while, look for signs of cracks or dry rot, especially if it's an older ATV. Number seven, check the front wheel bearings, the A-arms, A-arm bushings, and rear axle carrier bearings for any play. If there's some slop there, especially a lot of movement, you're going to want to change those out really before you spend any time riding it. It'll make it ride and handle a lot better. Number eight, check the chain and sprockets. Adjust the chain if it's too loose or too tight. Make sure it has a case saver. If it does not, please put a case saver on it before riding if one is missing. Best case scenario is you end up with a broken chain and you're walking out. But worst case scenario is that broken chain cracks the engine case. Also, check the sprockets for wear. And it's a good idea to change the sprockets and chain together, especially if the sprockets are worn or if the chain looks rusty. Number nine, check for missing bolts and replace any that are missing. Especially make sure you check around the attachment points for the plastics. These are common places for bolts to be missing. And a flapping fender could easily crack or break. You can get a really cheap bolt kit from Amazon or eBay, and they're worth it. Number 10, park it after running it for a few minutes and put a piece of cardboard or some sort of white paper or light colored paper under it and let it sit overnight to make sure there aren't any leaks. Especially on the YFZs and the Raptors, it's really common for the oil drain bolts to be stripped and it could leak from under the engine or under the oil case. Do these things and you'll certainly increase your chances of having a successful first ride. Good luck and happy riding. Thanks for watching.